Hello and welcome to the Billion Dollar Broker Podcast. My name is Ross Lacane. I'm bringing my 25 years industry experience together with leading experts around the globe to give you the insights on how to live a better life and grow a profitable mortgage broking business that you are proud of. Hey friends, I want to talk to you today about one of the most challenging things that's happening in the broking industry at the moment, and that's about how you go about building a dream team, but more specifically, how you go about recruiting staff, because by far the biggest challenge in this industry is recruiting and retaining good staff members. And it's really the key to scaling and taking your business from where it is now to the next level. No matter where you're at the moment, if you're a broker that's got an established business and you're sort of hitting the point where you're too busy in terms of writing loans yourself and you don't seem to have that experienced person in your business that can handle the complex credit scenarios that you're at, and you really need to get that person, or maybe you're looking to recruit a broker to help you with the decision fatigue of making so many decisions around the number of clients that you've got on board. Or maybe you're looking to have your transition to retirement. Or maybe you're just right at the start of the journey and looking at getting on your first team member. So what I wanted to do was talk about what are the most important things you need to focus on in order to be able to find staff, have them stay with you, and have them be a top performer. So to me, in terms of if I show you in a model, if we have a look at it, in terms of looking at creating great staff, there's three areas that we need to focus on to create great staff, right? So if we look at those areas, so this is what we want to create. We want to create great staff. But the key and the first thing that we want to focus on is the culture of your business. And focusing on that is really important in terms of to get the right fit from a cultural perspective. Now, if we're looking at culture, there's a couple of things that we need to look at. We need to look at the beliefs of the people. So their thoughts create their actions and it creates their results, right? So we need to understand what their beliefs are in order to see if they're going to be a fit with ours. We also need to define the values. And one of the first sessions I do with most of my clients within my programs, we really look at their vision and their values of the business. And because if you hire based on your values, because your values are something that don't change over time, there's something that with you for a long time. And most of the cause of stress is where we're not acting or we don't have people aligning with our values. So it's really important to really define your values and then hire according to that, because that's going to be key to get somebody that's successful in the role that you're looking to put them into. Next, you want to make sure that their goals and your goals align, right? So if you want someone that you want to stick with you for a long time, you've got to make sure that there's the roadmap within your business to hold that person. If they've got aspirations and they maybe want to do it themselves and go in their own business, maybe that's not the right fit. So you've got to understand what they're bigger. And one of the questions that I love to ask is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because this will give you a really good understanding of where they're headed in terms of their career. So the next thing we need to look at is we need to have a look at their skills, right? So we need to have a look at their skills, and this is going to be really, really important, all right? So we focus on their skills. So what are the things that we look at? So one, we look at their experience, especially if you want somebody, and when we used to look to hire credit staff, we'd want a minimum of 2 years experience within the role. Now that's harder to find, and we may need to look at some of the other things when I come to the next part. You need to look at, especially if you're getting on board a broker, or if you want someone, what are their qualifications? Do they have a Cert 4? Do they have a diploma? Do they have university degree? What are their qualifications that they've got within the business? And lastly, but not least, what is their reputation? And by checking references, you can find this. And even looking online, you can also have a look at, what is the reputation of the people. One thing that I'm big at and look at, how long have they spent in their previous roles? Because I think, that for me is really, really important and shows what their reputation and how long they're likely to stick. Normally, if they've jumped around in jobs, it's for a reason, and they're probably likely to jump around if they come into your business as well. So I think that's important to look at. Probably the next thing to have a look at is the behaviors. What are their behaviors like? And for me, the behaviors that we need to look at, the key one is attitude. So if you can't find the right experience, as I mentioned up here, you've got to hire for attitude and train for skills. But attitude is really, really important. And also looking at the actions that they take. And you can even tell in an appointment, like, are they proactive and picking up the phone and talking to you and finding more about the role? What does their resume look like? What's the care and attention to detail that they've put in? Does it look professional? Because the way they deliver in their actions, one of the things we used to ask is everyone had to write a cover note and a cover letter, because it was one of the things that we put in the instructions. Do they have the ability to follow the instructions? And if they do write a cover note, is it a personalized cover note where they've taken the time to look at your business and understand their business? Or is it a generic one that they've cut and pasted, right? So have a look at their actions, and then have a look at, what is their work style like? And through great questions and a great process, these are the things that we can really focus on. So to work out, are these people going to be a fit within our business? I know for me, when I looked at this, it was important, right? It was really, really important to be shown how to do an interview. And one of the things that we provide within our programs is a guide. What I will provide to you today is a checklist that you can look at in terms of all the things that you need to do to make sure that you're asking the right questions. So let me bring up the interview guide for you. In terms of the interview guide, this is an interview guide, and again, just put guide in the chat if you want a copy of the guide. But in terms of what you need to focus on before the interview, clearly define what success in the role looks like, because this is going to be really important. Compare the candidate's suitability for the role. So have a look at their resume, have a look at what they've done in the past, and prepare that suitability. Again, look at how long they've spent in their roles is really important. Prepare the interview questions based on what success looks like, right? So we want to make sure that we're uncovering in the interview skills that are required for what's going to be successful in the role. Then we want to have you clearly define what your vision and values are for the business. If you want to see what we do in our business, this is an example, right? So the $1 Billion Broker, this is for something that we use internally. So thoughtfully serves our broking community. We practice ongoing learning and growth as role models to our clients. We're accountable to ourselves and to one another to make a positive impact in the world. And then we've got our core values. So I'll go through this, and when I'm recruiting for this business, I'll go through our 5 key values of accountability, team, personal growth, community, and service. And it's something that, every week we reward staff on in our staff meeting around what have staff done to live out these values. So really clearly defining what your values are in the before the interview will allow you to really be able to clear why they are important to you. Then obviously, your ability to sell the role is just as important as them applying for the role. So you've got to know how to pitch it, and again, in terms of pitching it, because it is a great opportunity to work for you, I'm sure. So in opening the interview, we want to explain the purpose of what we're doing. We want to discuss the plan, and we want to, build that rapport. Like equate, similar to you do in a loan appointment. The rapport that you build is really important. Then we want to outline the visions and values and outline the requirements of the position. Right? So during the interview, we want to check their understanding of the role that they've applied for. We want to learn about their background and their experience. We want to ensure that they're aligned with your vision and your values. And we really want to understand what their goals are. We want to look for real situations, and I highlight this, and what the actions and what the results of their real life situation. So you get a really good feel of what they've done and what their attitude is like. Closing the interview, give them a chance to ask questions, compare the candidate's suitability for the role. So it's important to take notes, because if you're interviewing multiple people for this role, you want to really, summarize your impressions and assess the candidate based on those things in terms of give them a rating. But the other thing to look in terms of how we interview, and once I was told how to interview, it really changed the game. One of my colleagues took me through the process that they used at Aussie, and I took on board their interview guide, and I still use a lot of the principles from what I was taught back then. But some of the interview techniques is to ask competency-based questions to determine their background and experience. As I said in the guide, determine these questions based on what success looks like within the role. And also to make sure that they're aligned with the things that for your mission and your values within the business. So the things that we're looking for in the situational based questions, we're looking for a situation, we're looking for an action, and we're looking for a result. And it's really important that they can answer this question properly, because what you'll find when you compare applicants is they may be general and not give you an actual situation of, say for example, you might ask a question like, give me an example of what a time when you showed great customer service, right? So they need to come with an actual situation, not, I think customer service is really important because X, Y, and Z. No, you want the actual situation, you want what the actions they took, and you want what the result was. The most important reason that you want this, because it shows that a person has the ability to think for themselves and they can think all the way through. Because how many times have you given someone a task to do and they'll go busy, but they won't follow it all the way through, right? So you want someone, and the reason that we ask these is because we want to see the ability of how they problem solve and how they have taken an actual situation, an action, and a result. And it really shows that way of thinking. It shows what their attitude, their beliefs are in terms of, what they actually did to actually get the results in the areas or situations that you're looking for. So I think this is key, and I think a lot of brokers sort of don't get that right, and I think it's so important, right? So as we mentioned, the three things before in terms of the summary. We want a successful hire based on skills, culture, and behaviors. And we want to ask the right questions and have a process. Everything comes down to a process, because if we want to create, similar to this, where a winning team, and taking clients on a journey with through their home loan process is a bit like jumping out of a plane, right? We want to be able to trust the person next to us, and we want to be able to support them and have them support us, so we create that exhilarating experience, much like sort of jumping out of a plane. So in summary, biggest challenge that a lot of us have today is around recruiting staff. And to get this right is so important, and we only get one chance at the recruitment process, so we want to ensure that we do it right. So I think if you follow some of these things that we've spoken about today and put a little bit more thought and structure around what you're doing. Of course, we're professional mortgage brokers. We're not professional recruiters. In terms of, I've looked at a couple of different roles for my business, and even sales recruiters are finding it tough. It's been the hardest market in the last 15 years, they're saying. So yes, it is tough. So our skills need to be better to be able to, one, attract good talent and retain. And that leads us to a whole other topic. And again, it's something that I'm passionate about, something we work a lot in both our elite program and our accelerator program. So I'd love you to learn more. So if you want to learn more about our programs, reach out, have a chat. Otherwise, follow us on the $1 Billion Broker podcast, or become a part of our Facebook group if you're not already. And I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, till next time, I'm Ross, founder of the $1 Billion Broker. Here's to creating a profitable business that you're proud of.